Look, I'm sure you already know the official story about the Great Pyramid. You've heard it 1,000 times, right? But what if I told you that everything you've been told might be incomplete or even completely wrong? Most people will never ask the hard questions, but if you're not afraid to dive into the unknown, subscribe to this channel and let's see if you're brave enough to uncover the real story. Let's dive in. The story we've been told about the Great Pyramid of Giza, the one that's been passed down for nearly 5,000 years, is one of the most enduring in history. Pharaoh Kufu, we're told, built it as a grand tomb, an awe-inspiring achievement, created in just 20 short years. Thousands of workers, primitive copper chisels, ropes, and sheer determination supposedly brought this colossal monument to life, the kind of myth we tell ourselves about ancient achievements to make us feel small in comparison, right? But what if this entire narrative is not just incomplete, but outright misleading? What if the Great Pyramid's true story has been hidden for centuries? Consider this. Despite the pyramid's monumental significance, there's virtually no direct evidence linking Pharaoh Khufu to its construction. Strange, isn't it? In a civilization that left a written record of virtually every aspect of their lives, rituals, battles, daily activities, even the most mundane events, how is it possible that not a single inscription from Khufu's time explicitly says, "I built this"? And then there's the absence of Khufu's body. In a tomb that's supposed to be his final resting place, why isn't there a single trace of his remains? No elaborate burial artifacts, no offerings, no inscriptions bearing his name to commemorate his eternal life. Where are the treasures, the royal trappings, the signs that this was truly a royal tomb? Instead, what we find inside the Great Pyramid are empty chambers, vast stone corridors, and, well, nothing that screams royal tomb. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let's pause and think about this. What if the pyramid's true purpose wasn't to bury Pharaoh Khufu at all? What if it had another function, one that we've simply overlooked, or worse, never thought to question? But that's where it gets interesting, because while we've all been taught to accept the official story without question, the more we learn about the pyramid, the more it seems to defy what we've been told. And that's exactly where the real story begins to unfold. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To fully understand what's at stake here, we need to start with the version of history that we've all been fed for so long, the one that explains how Khufu allegedly built this great monument. It's time to unravel the myth and start asking the questions no one has dared to ask before. The official story, it doesn't quite hold up, and you're about to find out why. Let's dig into the evidence. For centuries, we believed that the Great Pyramid was built by Pharaoh Khufu as a tomb, a simple, straightforward story. Workers, copper chisels, and ropes, the enduring tale of a grand royal project that became a symbol of Khufu's power and legacy. But here's the thing. This narrative doesn't just miss the mark, it's a carefully crafted illusion. You see, the more we look at the Great Pyramid, the more it seems like the story we've been fed doesn't add up. Let's start with the basics. Why, in a civilization that meticulously documented every king, every battle, every priest's ceremonial acts, why is there no mention of Khufu inside the pyramid? Nothing. No inscriptions, no hieroglyphs, no royal marks. A tomb for a king with no king's name carved into the stone? Doesn't that raise your eyebrows? But it gets even stranger. Khufu's body, gone. It's not like this was some minor oversight. The Egyptians believed in a grand afterlife, and their kings were buried with elaborate treasures meant to guarantee their success in the next world. So where's Khufu's body? Where are the treasures? Where is the proof that this was his tomb and not something Far stranger, the absence of Khufu's remains isn't just a mystery, it's an outright contradiction. If the pyramid was truly a tomb, why is it void of the most crucial elements we would expect to find? The absence of grave goods, treasures, and Khufu himself doesn't just suggest negligence, it points to a deeper, more deliberate omission. And that's where the real question begins. If this wasn't Khufu's tomb, then what was it for? Now you could argue that history is simply incomplete, but what if it's not just incomplete, it's deliberately concealed? What if the answers we're looking for are hidden in plain sight, deliberately overlooked or ignored by those in power? If you think the pyramid's mysteries are only about what's missing, think again. What about what we haven't been told? Hidden chambers, unexplored passageways, and strange anomalies that don't fit the mainstream narrative. When we start digging, the real story begins to unravel. Evidence of advanced technology, secrets that could rewrite everything we know about ancient Egypt, and clues that suggest the Great Pyramid isn't a tomb at all. It's a key to unlocking something far older than Egypt itself. And guess what? Some of this evidence is so explosive, so uncomfortable, that it's been suppressed. You heard me right, actively suppressed, but not for much longer. It's time we stop accepting the official story and start uncovering what's been hidden from us for millennia. So where does that leave us? What else is buried beneath the sands of time? Let's follow the trail of hidden evidence that the mainstream historians don't want you to see. Because as it turns out, the real secrets of the pyramid don't just lie within its walls. They're hidden in plain sight, waiting to be revealed. And what you're about to learn might just change everything. From here, we move on to uncover the real evidence that's been suppressed. The mysterious void discovered in the pyramid, strange anomalies that don't fit into the standard timeline, and the possibility that ancient Egypt wasn't the first civilization to harness advanced technologies. The deeper we go, the more it seems like the pyramid holds secrets that could completely rewrite history. Let's take a closer look. For millennia, we've been told the same story about the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Kufu, constructed with nothing more than copper chisels, wooden sledges, and the brute strength of thousands of workers. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? The pyramid stands as a testament to human ingenuity. But here's the thing. The more you look, the more that story begins to crumble. What if it's all a lie? What if the real truth is so shocking that they have kept it hidden from us for centuries? You see, the more we uncover, the more we realize that the traditional narrative is riddled with holes. The first crack? No one, not even the Egyptians, ever directly linked Khufu's name to the pyramid. The tomb of a king with no king's name? That's not just an oversight. That's something deliberate, something designed to keep us in the dark. And then let's talk about Khufu's body, or rather, the absence of it. This wasn't just any tomb. This was the grandest tomb ever built, and yet Khufu's remains are nowhere to be found. There are no royal treasures, no burial artifacts, no signs of the pharaoh's eternal journey. If this wasn't a tomb, then what in the world was the pyramid meant to be? Here's where it gets even more bizarre. What if the pyramid wasn't built to bury Khufu at all? What if it was something else entirely? A machine, a tool, a cosmic key to a lost understanding. The more we dig, the less the pyramid fits into the neat little box of what we've been told. But here's the real question. Why? Let's start with the most obvious thing. How the pyramid was built. The Great Pyramid is an engineering marvel that defies the limits of ancient technology. The sheer precision of the cuts, the alignment with the stars, the complexity of its internal chambers. None of this adds up if you stick to the standard story. basic copper chisels and wooden tools? Modern engineers can't replicate the precision of the pyramid's construction, even with our most advanced technology. And yet, these ancient builders did it. You may think you know what happened, but as it turns out, the pyramid was built with knowledge, or tools, that we don't have today. How do we explain the perfectly round drill holes in the granite blocks? How do we explain the precision of the stonework that seems to have been done with tools that shouldn't have existed back then? This is where Christopher Dunn's work comes in. He argues that the pyramid's stonework shows clear signs of advanced machining, a technology that should have been a loss to history. But what if it wasn't? What if, just maybe, this ancient knowledge didn't vanish? What if it was hidden? Another enigma that simply doesn't fit the mainstream narrative: the lighting inside the pyramid. How did the ancient builders light their way through the dark, narrow passageways and intricate chambers? Torches and oil lamps, they say. But guess what? There's no soot, no evidence of smoke residue, no burn marks on the walls. How can this be? In a space sealed for thousands of years, where are the signs of traditional lighting methods? This opens a far more unsettling question. Could the pyramid have been illuminated with something more advanced? Something we've either forgotten or deliberately erased from history? The lack of soot doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient Egypt's tools. It suggests something far deeper, a technology perhaps that the builders of the pyramid may have inherited from a much older, more advanced civilization. The mystery intensifies when we turn our attention to the interior of the pyramid. In the 1990s, German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink made a discovery that would shake the foundations of Egyptology. He uncovered a sealed limestone door with copper handles deep inside the pyramid. This wasn't just any door. It was perfectly positioned and clearly designed to protect something, or hide it. But here's the thing: Egypt's authorities won't allow further exploration. Why? What's behind that door that has the powers that be so scared? Imagine the implications. This door could lead to hidden chambers, rooms that may hold the answers we're desperately searching for. But every time an investigator gets close, the door stays sealed and the truth remains buried. Why is this secrecy tolerated? What's the real reason behind the resistance to opening that door? Now let's talk about something that will truly blow your mind. In 2017, a team of international scientists used a technique called muon radiography to peer inside the pyramid without touching a single stone. They uncovered an enormous void, a massive chamber that dwarfs any of the known rooms inside the pyramid, and yet there's no visible entrance. How can this be? Why have we never known about this vast hidden space within one of the world's most studied monuments? The discovery is nothing short of revolutionary. But here's the real kicker. When the findings were made public, what happened? Nothing. The scientific community was mysteriously silent. Requests to explore this new void were flatly denied. The authorities simply turned their backs. Why? What could possibly be so important behind that void that the world isn't allowed to see it? Let's be blunt. Someone is keeping the real story of the Great Pyramid hidden. But why? We have evidence pointing to advanced technologies, hidden chambers, and unexplained mysteries, all of which defy the official narrative. So what are the powers that be afraid of? Is it possible that the pyramid wasn't just a tomb, but something far more significant? An ancient machine, a beacon, a gateway to knowledge lost in time? The evidence we've uncovered suggests that the story we've been told about the pyramid is incomplete, if not outright false. But if the truth is so important, then why is it being suppressed? And who's pulling the strings to keep us from the answers? To understand why these discoveries are being ignored, You need to look at the man who controls Egypt's historical narrative, Dr. Zahi Hawass. As the head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Hawass has been the gatekeeper to the country's most powerful secrets. For decades, he has held the keys to Egypt's past, controlling what gets uncovered and what stays hidden. But what if he's keeping these truths locked away on purpose? Is Dr. Hawass truly protecting Egypt's heritage? Or is he guarding something far more extraordinary, something that could challenge everything we know about ancient civilization? Stay tuned as we dive into the world of the gatekeeper and explore the shadowy forces behind the narrative of Egypt's ancient history. For decades, one man has controlled the narrative of Egypt's ancient past, Dr. Zahi Hawass. If you've ever heard of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, or the treasures of Egypt, you've probably heard his name. He's been the public face of Egyptian archaeology, leading excavations, making groundbreaking discoveries, and shaping what we all know about one of the world's greatest civilizations. But here's the thing. What if everything you've been told, everything he's shown you, has been carefully curated, even manipulated? Hawass has been more than just a prominent figure in Egyptology. He's been the gatekeeper, controlling what research gets done, what theories are allowed to see the light of day, and ultimately, what history the public will learn. And here's where it gets chilling. Some of the most important discoveries about ancient Egypt have been shut down, not because they lack merit, but because they threaten the very narrative Hawass has spent a lifetime defending. But why? What is Hawass protecting? Is it Egypt's national pride? Or is there something far more profound, something far darker that he's trying to keep buried? Imagine a world where the key to unlocking Egypt's deepest secrets lies in the hands of just one man. Dr. Zahi Hawass holds that key. As the head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, he has the power to grant or deny permission for excavation projects, research, and publications. If you want to uncover Egypt's true history, you have to go through him. But what happens when new theories start to challenge the accepted version of Egyptian history? What happens when an outsider with a groundbreaking theory threatens the very foundation of everything Hawass stands for? We've all heard of the great discoveries, the tombs, the pyramids, the Sphinx. But have you ever wondered why certain discoveries are never made? Why, despite advances in technology and new evidence, so many questions remain unanswered? The truth is, Hawass has shut down countless independent researchers, historians, archaeologists, and even fellow Egyptologists who dared to ask the wrong questions. They found evidence suggesting that the pyramids were not just tombs, but could have been something far more sophisticated: tools, machines, or even astronomical markers. They've uncovered strange anomalies that don't fit the narrative, but every time they get close to uncovering the truth, Hawass is there to block them, to keep them in check, to silence them. Why? The mystery is clear. It's not about national pride. It's about control. And Hawass knows that the truth, the real truth, could unravel everything. So what's the real reason behind Hawass's resistance? Could it be about preserving his own reputation as the authoritative figure in Egyptology? It's possible. Hawass has spent a lifetime building his career on a very specific narrative, the one where the pyramids were constructed as royal tombs, built with basic tools by thousands of workers over the span of 20 years. But here's the twist. What if that story is a lie? What if the history we've all been taught is nothing more than a carefully constructed myth to protect the world's oldest civilization from being challenged? And what if the real story behind the pyramids and the Sphinx is far older, far more advanced, and far more controversial than we've been led to believe? Hawass has spent decades protecting a story, but what if that story is no longer enough? What if the truth, if fully uncovered, could change everything? And perhaps that's what Hawass is most afraid of, a truth so profound it could rewrite the entire history of humanity. The question isn't just about what Hawass has concealed, it's about what's been deliberately ignored by the mainstream archaeological community. We've all been told that the Great Pyramid was built for one purpose, to be a tomb for Pharaoh Kufu. But new discoveries suggest that this might not be true. Evidence of precision stonework, advanced geometric alignments, and unexplained internal structures suggest that the pyramid may have served another, far more mysterious purpose. And let's not forget the Sphinx, long believed to be a guardian of the Giza Plateau. Its age and origin have been fiercely debated. The erosion patterns found around the base of the Sphinx suggest something completely unexpected. Rainfall. This could push the date of the Sphinx back by thousands of years, perhaps even to a time long before the rise of the pharaohs. Could the Sphinx actually be a relic from an earlier civilization, one lost to time, or even an earlier, more advanced society than the ancient Egyptians? If true, this would shatter everything we think we know about Egypt's history. What if the ancient Egyptians were not the original builders of the Great Pyramid, but rather the inheritors of a much older and more advanced civilization's knowledge? The implications are staggering, and this perhaps is the ultimate reason why Hawass has spent his career suppressing these alternative theories. If these ideas are correct, it would not only challenge the history of Egypt, but the entire history of civilization itself. Imagine for a moment the implications. A world where the history of the ancient Egyptians, our understanding of their knowledge, their tools, their technology, has been suppressed for centuries. A world where we're told one story about how they built the pyramids, and yet the truth is something much more radical, far more mind-blowing than we ever imagined. Could this be the reason behind Hawass' iron grip on Egyptology? What if Hawass is not merely guarding Egypt's national pride, but something far darker, something that could destroy careers, reputations, and the foundations of history? What if the real story is so powerful that it cannot be allowed to be known? Because once revealed, it would fundamentally change everything we think we know about human history. Dr. Zahi Hawass has become the gatekeeper of Egypt's past. But what happens when the gatekeeper becomes the barrier to the truth? And this is where the story gets truly fascinating. Because while Dr. Hawass has done everything in his power to prevent certain theories from seeing the light of day, a growing number of researchers, archaeologists, and historians are starting to ask the real questions. The questions that could shatter the foundations of Egyptology and rewrite history itself. In the next chapter, we dive into the alternative theories that challenge the official story. Theories that suggest the pyramids were not just tombs, but advanced machines. That the Sphinx is far older than anyone dares to admit. That an ancient civilization, far more advanced than Egypt's pharaohs, once ruled the land. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew, because the truth is far stranger and far more dangerous than you can imagine. For centuries, we've been told the story of Egypt's rise. Pharaoh Kufu, the mighty king, builds the Great Pyramid as his tomb. But what if that story is nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? What if the truth about the pyramids and the Sphinx is far stranger, more complex, and far older than we've been led to believe? We've been taught to believe the pyramids were built around 2500 BC. No questions asked. But new discoveries are shattering everything we know about ancient Egypt. Are you ready for the truth? Let's start with the most shocking question of all. What if the pyramids weren't built by Pharaoh Kufu at all? You've probably heard of Robert Bauval's Orion correlation theory. It's one of the most controversial ideas to ever challenge the traditional narrative of the pyramids. Bauval suggests that the pyramids align with the three stars of Orion's belt, as they appeared in 10,500 BC. That's right, thousands of years before Pharaoh Kufu. If Bovile is correct, it means the pyramids weren't built as royal tombs at all, but as part of something far older, something far more advanced. This isn't just a slight shift in history, it's a complete rewrite. If the pyramids were aligned with Orion's belt thousands of years before Khufu's reign, it suggests the builders had advanced astronomical knowledge. Knowledge so precise that modern technology still struggles to replicate it. Could these pyramid builders have been the survivors of a forgotten ancient civilization with knowledge far ahead of its time? If this theory holds any truth, it would completely upend everything we know about ancient Egypt and force us to look at the entire history of humanity in a new light. But this is just the beginning. Now let's talk about the Sphinx. For generations, we've been told that it was built by Pharaoh Khafre, but new geological evidence suggests something entirely different. John Anthony West and Robert Schoch, two researchers who dared to challenge the mainstream, discovered something truly astonishing. The Sphinx is not 4,500 years old. It's much older. In fact, the erosion patterns on the Sphinx's walls show signs of water damage, not wind erosion, which could only have occurred during a time when the Sahara was a lush, wet landscape, around 12,000 years ago. If the Sphinx is truly that old, it means it predates the pharaohs by millennia. This isn't just a small discrepancy, it means we've been looking at the Sphinx all wrong. If this theory is correct, then Egypt's rise doesn't just represent the dawn of civilization. It could represent the reemergence of knowledge from a much older, far more advanced civilization. But what does this mean for the pyramids? Could they have been built by this same ancient civilization? And if so, why has this theory been so violently rejected by mainstream Egyptologists? Could the truth be so dangerous, so earth-shattering, that it's been deliberately suppressed? This brings us to the most mind-blowing theory of all, the lost civilization theory. Imagine a highly advanced civilization, far older than Egypt, that possessed technology and knowledge beyond anything we associate with ancient cultures. According to Graham Hancock, one of the leading voices for this theory, this civilization was destroyed in a global catastrophe, likely caused by a comet impact or rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. Hancock suggests that the survivors of this catastrophe passed down their advanced knowledge to the Egyptians, who then inherited the skills and techniques to build the pyramids and develop their sophisticated culture. But what if that lost civilization wasn't just a myth? What if its remnants are hidden beneath the sands of Egypt, waiting to be discovered? If Hancock is right, the rise of Egypt wasn't the start of civilization, it was a rebirth. The Egyptians didn't create the pyramid-building technology. They inherited it from a long-lost, advanced civilization. But here's the shocking truth. This knowledge was preserved, passed down through generations, until Egypt could rise again. But why has this theory been dismissed for so long? Why has it been buried by mainstream historians and archaeologists, including Dr. Zahi Hawass, the self-proclaimed gatekeeper of Egyptian history? Now let's put it all together. The pyramids, the Sphinx, and the knowledge of ancient Egypt. What if they are the remnants of a civilization that existed long before Egypt's pharaohs? What if the true builders of the pyramids were not Khufu's workers, but survivors of a global catastrophe who passed down their incredible knowledge of architecture, astronomy, and engineering to the Egyptians? The evidence is here. The alignments of the pyramids with Orion's belt, the water erosion on the Sphinx, and the sudden emergence of Egyptian architecture and technology all point to a much older, more advanced civilization. But the real question remains, what are we missing? As we look deeper into these alternative theories, we are left with one undeniable truth. We have only scratched the surface of what lies beneath Egypt's monumental history. There are questions that remain unanswered, questions that have been deliberately ignored or suppressed. Could the true story of Egypt, the pyramids, and the Sphinx be so shocking that it could alter everything we know about ancient civilization? What is Dr. Zahi Hawass truly protecting? Is it Egypt's heritage or something far more profound, something that, if revealed, would rewrite history? Could the truth about the pyramids, the Sphinx, and the lost civilization be hidden beneath layers of secrecy, waiting for the right moment to come to light? The unanswered questions are too big to ignore, and as we dive deeper into these mysteries, we can't help but wonder, what's still hidden beneath the sands of Egypt? But as we know, history isn't just about what we've uncovered, it's also about what remains hidden. And as we've seen in the case of the Great Pyramid, the Sphinx in ancient Egypt, there are still many questions that remain unanswered. What else could be buried beneath Egypt's sands? What knowledge has been deliberately concealed and why? As we continue to explore these alternative theories and push the boundaries of what we think we know, we're left with a burning question. What else is out there? Let's take a closer look at the unanswered questions that continue to challenge the official narrative. Could the answers be waiting for us, just beneath the surface? Think about it. The Great Pyramid is one of the most studied monuments in the world, yet it still holds secrets that no one has been able to fully explain. Hidden chambers, advanced technologies, and mysterious voids have all been uncovered, but no one has been allowed to explore them. The question is, why? There are parts of the pyramid that remain completely unexplored. Behind a door sealed for centuries, hidden from the world, lies a mystery that no one has been able to access. And when groundbreaking discoveries are made, like the hidden void uncovered by muon radiography or the strange stone door discovered by Gantenbrink's team, what happens? They are shut down, blocked, hidden. What's behind these sealed doors that's so important? And why does the Egyptian government, led by Dr. Zahi Hawass, refuse to let anyone see? The truth about the pyramid is locked away, deliberately, and it's time we ask ourselves, what are they really hiding beneath the sands of Egypt? Let's start with the most baffling mystery, the chambers within the pyramid that no one has been able to access. For decades, archaeologists have been trying to get inside the pyramid's deepest secrets, but every time they get close, they face a wall of resistance. Why is it that one of the most important discoveries in the history of Egyptology, the sealed door behind Gantenbrink's discovery, is still off limits? In 1992, Gantenbrink's robotic camera found a stone door with two copper handles in the Queen's chamber, an area that was long thought to be completely explored. But when he tried to drill through the door to see what lay behind it, Egyptian authorities intervened, halting the project immediately. What could possibly be behind this door? Why was it sealed so carefully? Could it contain something so monumental that the authorities are too afraid for the world to see it? This door, which stands as a symbol of Egypt's hidden past, is just one example of the unexplored mysteries that could rewrite everything we know about ancient Egypt. But for decades, these discoveries have been hidden from public view. The question is simple: what are they trying to keep us from finding? And this isn't the only unexplored part of the pyramid. Thanks to the use of muon radiography, an advanced scanning technology that uses cosmic rays to map out the pyramid's interior, scientists discovered a massive, previously unknown void just above the Grand Gallery. This void is bigger than any known chamber within the pyramid. Yet despite this incredible discovery, requests to explore this void further have been flatly denied. Why? Why is the Egyptian government so determined to keep this vast, hidden space locked away? The discovery of this hidden chamber raises another question. What is inside? What was it used for? The sheer scale of this void suggests that it's not just a passageway, it's a purposeful part of the pyramid's design. Was it a chamber with a hidden purpose? Or could it be something more, a key to understanding the true function of the Great Pyramid? We now face a disturbing reality. The Great Pyramid has been the subject of intense study for centuries, yet there is still so much we don't know. Why is that? Why, when evidence of hidden chambers and advanced technologies come to light, do we encounter such fierce resistance from the Egyptian authorities? Dr. Zahi Hawass has been at the center of this resistance. As Egypt's former head of antiquities and one of the most influential figures in Egyptian archaeology, Hawass has had a significant role in shaping the official narrative. But his actions raise serious questions. Why has he so vigorously blocked independent research? Why has he dismissed groundbreaking theories that suggest the pyramids were not just tombs, but possibly machines, tools, or even repositories of lost knowledge? The resistance to new theories is not just about preserving Egypt's cultural heritage. It's about protecting a carefully constructed story, one that serves the interests of those in power. If the true history of the pyramid were to be revealed, it would call into question everything Egyptologists and even the Egyptian government have been telling the world. It would expose the fact that there's more to Egypt's past than anyone has dared admit. But what are they really afraid of? What is Dr. Hawass and the Egyptian authorities trying to protect by keeping the truth hidden? The Great Pyramid might not just be an ancient tomb. It could be an artifact of a forgotten civilization that possessed knowledge and technology beyond our wildest imagination. The question is, do they want to keep it buried because they're afraid of what we'll find, or because they're afraid of what it will reveal about their control over Egypt's past? The suppression of research is one of the most troubling aspects of modern archaeology. Throughout the years, independent researchers have uncovered compelling evidence that challenges the mainstream view of the pyramid. But each time they've made a groundbreaking discovery, whether it's about the precision of the pyramid's construction, the alignment with the stars, or the advanced technology used to build it, they've faced intense resistance from those who control the narrative. Take Christopher Dunn, for example. As an engineer, Dunn has argued that the precision stonework in the Great Pyramid points to advanced machining technology, tools far beyond what the ancient Egyptians supposedly had. But despite his compelling research, his work has been widely ignored and dismissed by the academic establishment. His theory challenges the very foundation of Egyptology, and yet it has been kept out of the conversation. The same goes for Robert Bauval's Orion correlation theory, which suggests that the pyramids were aligned with the stars of Orion's belt in a way that predates the reign of Pharaoh Kufu by thousands of years. Once again, the academic community, led by figures like Dr. Hawass, has vehemently rejected these theories, dismissing them as speculative and unproven. But the evidence supporting these theories is compelling, and the resistance to exploring them raises uncomfortable questions. What is so threatening about these ideas? Why are they being suppressed? The resistance is clear. It's not about preserving Egypt's heritage. It's about protecting the status quo, the established narrative that puts Pharaoh Kufu at the center of the pyramid story. But if the official narrative crumbles, so too does the authority of those who have controlled it for so long. The question becomes, why is the truth about the pyramids so dangerous? So what are they really hiding? The resistance to exploring the pyramid's secrets, the suppression of groundbreaking research, and the deliberate blocking of independent investigations all point to one terrifying conclusion. There is something hidden beneath the sands of Egypt that threatens to change everything we know about human history. The Great Pyramid, far from being just a tomb, might be the key to unlocking a lost history, one that stretches back beyond the rise of Egypt itself. It could hold the answers to questions that have been buried for millennia, locked away by those who fear the truth. But what if the truth isn't just about the pyramid? What if it's about something far greater? An ancient civilization with knowledge and technology that we can't even begin to comprehend. The unanswered questions are not just academic, they are existential. What is the purpose of the pyramid? What did the ancient Egyptians, or whoever built the pyramid, know that we don't? And most importantly, what are we missing? The Great Pyramid of Giza has stood for over 4,500 years, a monument to human achievement and a symbol of mystery. Despite the countless theories and research conducted, the pyramid still holds its secrets. The unanswered questions about the pyramid's construction, purpose, and hidden chambers are a challenge to the official narrative that has dominated Egyptology for centuries. The resistance to exploring these mysteries, the suppression of independent research, and the deliberate concealment of discoveries suggest that there is more to the pyramid than we've been told. What are they really hiding? What lies beneath the surface, buried in the sands of Egypt, waiting to be uncovered? As we continue to search for the truth, one thing becomes clear. The Great Pyramid is not just a tomb. It's a key, one that may unlock the greatest mystery of all, the true history of humanity. So what are these secrets? What is the Great Pyramid really telling us? As we dig deeper into the pyramid's mysteries, we begin to uncover hidden knowledge that challenges everything we think we know. Let's take a closer look at the secrets that the pyramid holds. Secrets that have been hidden for centuries, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover them. You've been taught the same story for years. Pharaoh Kufu built the Great Pyramid as his tomb. But what if that story is a lie? What if the truth about the pyramid is so far beyond our imagination that it could destroy everything we think we know about Egypt and history itself? Let's pause and think for a second. The Great Pyramid stands as the pinnacle of ancient engineering, but there's something off about the official story. Khufu, he's the name you've always heard. But what if he didn't build it at all? What if the real builders are far older, and their true purpose for the pyramid is something we've never even considered? For years, Egyptologists have shoved these questions aside, brushed off theories that challenge the mainstream narrative, and dismissed anyone who dares suggest that the pyramid's purpose might have been more than just a tomb. But here's the thing. If the pyramid was really just a tomb, why is there absolutely no evidence to support that claim? Let's start with the obvious. There's no trace of Khufu's body. There's no royal treasure, no lavish burial goods, no grand inscriptions bearing his name. In fact, there's nothing at all inside the pyramid that definitively links it to the pharaoh. Does that seem odd to you? Could it be that Khufu was simply the face of the pyramid, a name attached to a monument whose true purpose was never meant to be understood? What if we've been fed a carefully constructed lie for thousands of years? When you stand before the Great Pyramid, one thing becomes clear. This is no simple tomb. It's an engineering marvel so precise that even today, modern engineers can't replicate the methods used to create it. The stonework, how could it have been done with nothing but copper tools, ropes, and wooden sledges? The precision of the cuts, the alignment with true north, the way it seems to defy the laws of physics, all of this begs a terrifying question. What if the pyramid wasn't built by the Egyptians we've been taught about, but by a civilization with knowledge so far beyond their time that it defies all logic. Imagine this. Modern engineers using the best technology we have struggle to recreate the cuts, alignments, and angles of the pyramid. Yet we're told that a primitive society with little more than copper tools somehow managed to accomplish this. Does this sound plausible to you? Or does it sound more like a story designed to keep us from asking the real questions? Now let's move to something even stranger, the sealed chambers and hidden voids deep inside the pyramid. For years, scientists have discovered new voids and unexplored spaces within the Great Pyramid. One of the most significant discoveries came in 2017 when muon radiography, a revolutionary scanning technique using cosmic rays, revealed a vast hidden chamber above the Grand Gallery. Yet despite the excitement this discovery generated, what did Egypt's authorities do? They blocked further investigation. Why? What's so threatening about a hidden chamber inside the pyramid? And why is there such a strong resistance to unlocking these sealed spaces? Consider Gantenbrink's door, a sealed limestone door found deep inside the Queen's chamber. Gantenbrink's team wanted to drill through the door to see what was behind it. But guess what? The Egyptian authorities intervened, halting the project. What's behind this door? Could it be that the key to understanding the Great Pyramid lies beyond that door, in a chamber that's been sealed for centuries? The resistance to further exploration raises an uncomfortable question. What are they hiding from us? Now let's talk about the real elephant in the room, the suppression of alternative theories. As we've seen, when researchers like Christopher Dunn, Robert Bauval, and John Anthony West proposed theories that challenged the traditional narrative, they were met with fierce opposition, not just from other scholars, but from the Egyptian authorities themselves. These are serious, respected individuals who have presented evidence that suggests the pyramids weren't simply royal tombs, but could be machines or tools, possibly even repositories of ancient, lost knowledge. So why the resistance? Why the constant pushback against ideas that don't fit the conventional story? What if the real story is something we're not supposed to know? Could it be that Dr. Zai Hawass and the Egyptian government are not simply protecting national pride, but something far more significant? Could they be safeguarding knowledge that could change everything about how we understand the rise of civilization? If the pyramids weren't built by Khufu's workers, but by an older civilization with technologies we can barely comprehend, then what does that mean for the rest of human history? What would it mean for Egypt's place in the origins of our culture and civilization? These are the questions that remain unanswered, and the questions that those in power don't want us asking. The Great Pyramid has stood for over 4,500 years. For most of that time, we've believed the official story, Khufu's tomb, constructed with primitive tools. But as we peel back the layers, we realize that this story doesn't fit. The pyramid is a marvel of engineering, but there's more to it than we've been told. The hidden chambers, the strange alignments, the suppression of groundbreaking research, these all point to a singular, uncomfortable conclusion. The Great Pyramid is hiding something, and whatever it is, it's far more extraordinary than we've been led to believe. You've heard the story, you've seen the evidence, but now it's time to make up your mind. Will you accept the official story, or will you join the growing number of people who are pushing the boundaries of history and archaeology to uncover the truth? The pyramid is still standing, its secrets locked away, waiting for the right people to come along and uncover them. If you're ready to challenge the status quo, if you're ready to dive into the mysteries of the Great Pyramid, subscribe to this channel and join us on this extraordinary journey. But here's the real question. What if the Great Pyramid's true purpose is something so far beyond our current understanding that it could change everything we know about human history. The secrets of the Great Pyramid remain locked beneath the sands of Egypt. But will we ever unlock them? The journey is just beginning, and who knows what we'll discover next.